And welcome to week 9 of the Walk the Plank podcast. Welcome to my co-host, Gene Winters. Thanks for being here, Gene, as always.
Yeah, another full week of games and events here at the school, plus some more CVC champions. Some teams were announced, all CVC teams, which I know we'll touch on throughout the day. But A big focus of last week's podcast was about the Volley for a Cure and Kick for a Cure. Both events went fabulous last week.
They did. We got some wins on the volleyball court. Our team beat Madison 3-0. We tied on the girls' side, and the boys lost to Madison. But the biggest thing that we took away from last Wednesday is that we raised $2,400 for the Epic family and for Mrs. Epic, Alicia Epic's battle with cancer right now. So that went back to help them directly. So hats off to all of our parents from volleyball, girls and boys soccer, that helped put that event together. It was great. Everybody was here. It was a packed campus. We had baskets. We had 50-50. We had concessions. We had all kinds of things going on. And again, all that money going back to help the Epic family. So thank you to everybody. You know who you are behind the scenes. A special thank you for all that everybody did for that evening.
Yeah, a fabulous event, and as you mentioned last week, continues to rotate between the two schools each and every year. But in the end, you were able to keep the pink jug here for volleyball, which I know we'll touch on throughout the day today.
Yeah, definitely. So that event rotates back and forth from Perry to Madison. So next year, girls soccer, boys soccer, and volleyball will all play at Madison on that same date in October. And so it's a great event. Hats off to the Madison community as well. They came out in droves to support not only their teams, but they end up supporting our event through their purchase of raffle tickets and so on. So hats off again to everybody with that event. One of our best ones of the year and most fun. So, and sitting to my right here is Drew Smith. He is our male athlete of the week here for the Perry Athletic Department. So welcome in, Drew.
Thank you.
He is a member of our football team in the fall, a wrestler for us in the winter time. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But first and foremost, we get to give you your certificate here, some Dairy Queen food and a Blizzard. So thank you to Dairy Queen, as always, for being a sponsor of our Athlete of the Week program. Drew, let's just talk a little bit about just coming off the game last week at Harvey. Last Friday night, and they challenged us a little bit, 28-13 at one point there midway through the third quarter. Let's just talk about that game, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the season and the playoffs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they scored a little bit more than we wanted to, but we wanted to hold them to 0, obviously, and then we brought the JVs in after we held them enough, and then they also held them to only 13. So
yeah, it was good. I mean, I know Coach Niedzwiecki does a great job with our defense. Hats off to all of our defensive coaches. I think our goal every week is to pitch that shutout, right? And not many teams have gotten into double digits against us. So I think we're doing a great job defensively. They've got some talent over there at Harvey. They're doing a nice job as well. But in the end, both sides of the ball, special teams, all took advantages of enough things to pull out a 49-13 final score. We had the running clock, and on this week to West G.
And for you, Drew, looking at this, your defense going against your offense, how does that make that unit that much better, where you guys can pitch shutouts every week?
I would say it benefits both sides of the ball because, it's basically the same guys both starting on the offense and defensive side, but our twos are just right there with us, and it helps us drastically with just effort to the ball and stuff like that and scoring touchdowns.
And of course, week 3 was a tough one with Kirtland, coming off of that loss in triple overtime. How did you guys remain focused for the rest of the season? Not saying that was your biggest game of the year, but it could go down as the best game of the season.
I would say so. It'd probably go down as the best game of the season. But yeah. Wait, repeat that one.
Just how you guys continue to prep coming off that loss, knowing that you're going to have one loss, not go undefeated, but keep your focus for the rest of the remainder of your games.
Yeah, the loss hurt, but obviously that just pointed us in the correct direction to fix things and realize that we're not a perfect team, and we always have something to improve.
And if you look at Drew, and if you watch the live stream games and enough of our film and enough of our games in person, you're not the biggest guy out there, but you're a defensive lineman, right? But you're causing havoc. And as a former football coach myself, like I always hated going against, as an offensive coach, hated going against guys that could create so much havoc. So let's just talk about that. You're going up against 250, 275, 300-pound guys on a weekly basis, but you use your speed and your agility and your quickness to just cause so much havoc back there. Do you sort of relish that? Do you like being that problem causer on defense?
Yeah, I love my position. It's a lot of the guys like on the other side of the ball, they get so mad, and it's just very funny to see them get angry.
Well, you do a great job of it, and causing havoc, and it's now a stat. I've heard this on some college football talks, like havoc, defensive havoc is actually a stat now that they're using at the NCAA level. So I know you cause enough havoc as it is, so keep up the good work there.
Thank you.
And how does your wrestling background maybe help you with your agility, with your prep, being a smaller guy going against bigger competition?
I think if I didn't wrestle, I would not be able to be able to play the position that I do right now, because, I mean, just you're always in your like stance in wrestling, and basically it's the same thing with D-line. So, and just the explosiveness, I guess.
Now, you've always been a defensive-only guy, or were you playing offense at some point during your career?
Freshman year, I played running back, but I wasn't good at it because I'm not very fast. Okay. So, but then my freshman year, I also played defensive safety.
Okay.
And then sophomore year, I started as a nose, but because of I went on scout, and then it just worked. So.
And then let's talk about our senior class. All right, coming off last year as a junior, winning our first state championship in school history. Obviously an amazing accomplishment. We go from Division 5 to Division 4. What has been the seniors' mindset as the leaders of this program for this entirety of this season? What's the focus? New division. Last year is last year. It's over and done with. And I know the coaches, that's been their mindset. But how have you guys handled it as the leaders of this program?
I mean, I'd say if we did it once, we could do it again, obviously. But moving up a division brings in a whole lot of different teams that we've never went up against. And obviously, bigger division, which means they have more guys to select from. And, I mean, it's just a whole different scenery. But it's something we can't do. And it's time will tell.
Yeah. Well, we're only 2 weeks away at this point. So we've got, if anybody's out there on the Joe Whitell website, I've been looking, I'm sure other people are looking, what our potential matchups could be and who we've got in our region. Right now we're in second place in our region behind Lake Catholic. Glenville is lurking out there. West Branch, a team that we've lost to probably 4 years ago now. I think Coach Guestwich's first year we lost to West Branch. They're all, Streetsboro is an undefeated team. So Drew's exactly right. I mean, we move up a division, and the talent level is going to move with us. So we'll have our work cut out, but I know you guys will be ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, Drew, obviously the fan support last year was huge, going down to Canton and rooting you guys on. But you guys never lacked that here in Perry anyway. So what is it like playing a smaller school, but playing in front of the passion and the group that the fans bring out each and every Friday for you guys?
What do you mean,
Just playing for playing for a community, I guess.
Oh, I mean, it's awesome to see all those people show up, and I mean, it's crazy how many people that do come to the games, and it's like not even like some of the people that come, it's not even like their kids playing in the game. They just loved Perry and love Perry football, so it's nice to win games for them.
Yeah, definitely. We have a great crowd every Friday night. This week will be West Geauga. It's youth night, so we've got all of our little guys out there and our youth cheerleaders. We have our middle school cheerleaders, our middle school football players. We'll all be there. They all get in for free. Just wear your jerseys and wear your outfits if you can. But then, so that will bring a little, they'll all be there waiting for you guys coming out of that tunnel there after we hit the, those who stay will be champion sign, and then they're ready to go and they're leading you guys out there. It's got to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Drew, just have some last questions left for you before we let you go. Just again, a little bit of more of a deep dive into Drew Smith and some of your favorite things, some of the things that you've done here at Perry. Let's start with hopefully an easy one. So your favorite food.
Favorite food, I would go with cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger. Any particular restaurant or place where you can get it? That's your favorite.
Any cheeseburger will do.
Any cheeseburger, good. All right. How about favorite movie or favorite TV show?
Back to the Future.
Oh, there you go. And 80s, I love it. Favorite subject in school?
Math.
Another math. We've gotten a lot of math, as we talked about last week. Whether it's a team or an individual athletic accomplishment, your most memorable one here in Perry, youth all the way up through high school.
I would definitely say the state championship.
Yep. All right. And then a place to visit anywhere in the world if money wasn't an object for you. You could go anywhere you want.
Hawaii.
Hawaii is a good answer. All right. Drew Smith, football team, athlete of the week. Thanks for joining
you.
us, Drew, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right. Drew Smith from football. Again, the boys will be in action here this Friday night against West Geauga, 7 p.m. kick from Alumni Stadium on Youth Football Night.
And he basically, or I should say, potentially could have 4 home games coming up in a row. You
Yeah,
have your
4 in
2
a row.
here in the regular season, and if things hold well for the postseason and where they are in the rankings right now, you could potentially get 2 more home playoff games
Yeah.
before heading on the road.
And that's certainly the goal. Obviously, you have to win those that first playoff game, but we're looking to host 2. I think the last 4 years in a row we've hosted 2 playoff games. So it wasn't sure what Division IV would make that happen for us or not. But right now we're in that number 2 spot. The top 4 get to host 2 weeks. So, and moving on, sitting next to me now is Holly Viss of our girls cross country team. Welcome, Holly. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our athlete of the week on our girls side of things. There's your Dairy Queen certificate. And let's just talk about your season. You're back at it now, and but dealing with some injury at the beginning of the year. How are you feeling with where you're at in your season coming up on districts this week?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. I've ran 3 races so far, so I'm going to be coming back for my 4th one this weekend at Madison for districts, so I'm super excited for that. I was able to start running about 3 months after my surgery, so
Okay.
September 3rd was my
Okay.
first time running back.
Okay.
So it was pretty challenging to get back, but I'm really happy with how I'm doing right now.
Okay, well, a second place finish last week at the Chagrin Valley Conference Championships out at Cardinal, and even more importantly, that second place finish, that runner-up, led our team to win the Lake Division Conference Championship. So hats off to you and the rest of the girls team on a great accomplishment. I know we've had a couple of people out this year in addition to yourself that are now back and healthy. So let's just talk about that team mentality for a second and what you guys are focused, sort of that pack mentality as you approach. I'm sure you did last week. If we're able to win the conference championship, you guys all finished really, really well and just taking that momentum into this weekend at Madison.
Yeah, so it was kind of challenging in the beginning of the year because we
Yeah.
had 3 of our top 5 runners out. And now that we have the past couple of weeks, we've had all the girls back. It was really nice to have all of the team running the same race. And we kind of just worked together. We talked about it before just to kind of look out for the other Lake Division runners because there's
Yeah.
bibs on the back of our jerseys. So you can just kind of look for them throughout
Yeah.
the race. So that was kind of one of the things that we talked about before. And then before a race, about 10 minutes before, we kind of talk together and just motivate each other to talk about what we're going to do during the race and what our strategies are. So I think that really helps. It's just a last minute talk with the team together. And yeah, we just kind of worked together and we were able to get the CVC Lake Division
That's
championship.
awesome. It was a great day, and congratulations on that. And I know you guys are looking forward to even bigger things here this weekend with the chance to qualify for that regional level down at Boardman here when you race this Saturday.
Now, for you, obviously, coming back from injury, how difficult was it, being sidelined and watching your team go out there and perform, knowing that this is your senior year and you would love to be out there and competing with them?
Yeah, it was definitely hard because I saw them all running at practices and workouts and races in August. And I mean, that kind of motivated me to know that I want to get there eventually at some point. And I was able to do it. So I'm really happy that kind of made me want to push myself to get ready for the season by seeing them run.
And then them having success. We had Hazel on it back in week 3 or 4. The young freshman having a fabulous year for the varsity team. Being able to get back into that group, and did it also help maybe having the other injuries with you, where you weren't the only one on on the island, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say it definitely helped because Audrey, she was also injured too. And now that like I have Audrey back and Anna's back too, during like workouts, Audrey, Hazel, and I will like run with each other. So I think it really helps because Audrey and I like came back around the same time, and it helps Hazel get better because it pushes her through each workouts. Because before she didn't have anyone really to run with, so now it's definitely helping her a lot.
And do you think with your injury that it might even be, and I've only heard some coaches say this in other sports, so I'm just asking, I don't know exactly how cross country would work, but because you're maybe even a little bit more fresh, you don't have all the miles on you that some of the other runners will have. And I know the idea is to always sort of peak at the end of the year, but you're certainly going to be fresh and energetic and ready to go. Do you think that's helped you? Or obviously, I know you'd rather have been out there racing with your team, but maybe it actually is a little bit of a blessing at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it could definitely help because a lot of times, like in October, people get burnt out a lot, and then they kind of peak a couple weeks before like the most important meets, like regionals and state. So I feel like this will definitely help me because I know I'm just getting started. This is since I've only ran 3 weeks, and I think that definitely could help me eventually in these next couple weeks.
Well, good. We certainly hope that it does. What is your favorite course to run? Do you have a favorite course, or are they all the same to you? Do you prefer the hills or more of a flat course, or I guess back to my original question, which one's your favorite?
Yeah, I'd say more of like a flat course.
Okay.
We ran at the Legends Trumbull County Fairgrounds 2 weeks ago. I'd say that was my favorite just because I feel like there's like a lot of straight parts. So I feel like I'm like flying through the race. It's really nice. And I also like Madison too because that one's a flat one. We'll be back there this Saturday. So I'm really happy about that.
Awesome.
And for you, when did running or cross country become a thing for you? When did you realize, you know what, I'm good at this and I enjoy it?
So like in elementary, we had this Just Run club. So we'd run a 5K at the end of May. And I did it for a few years, and I decided I really liked running then. And then in 7th grade, I decided I wanted to sign up for the cross country team. So ever since then, my older sister also does cross country. So that's probably why I also like running a lot too.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And we've talked with Coach Allen. We'll have her on here in a moment to talk a little bit of middle school sports. But getting those numbers up from our middle school cross country program is certainly going to be one of our focuses. Because our numbers just, like our boys team this year in middle school, we only had 4 all year. We had a young man on our football team volunteer to be our 5th guy at the CVC race last week. Mindy can talk about that in a little bit. So we want those numbers to go up, and I think that Just Run in a program, I see what other schools are doing where, they're having it at a youth level. And just like we have travel basketball and travel baseball and youth football and Mighty Might Wrestling, we need to do that at the cross-country level because if you start young enough and you have that passion for it and that love for it, you're going to grow into somebody like a Holly Viss who's, a state qualifier and hoping to do it again as a senior. And that's what we need to build to keep that program going and to keep our numbers up.
My last thing for you is, what do you think about when you're running? We asked this to Hazel when she was on because obviously when we run, you have headphones in and you're rocking out to music, but unfortunately, on the course, it's just you and your thoughts.
Yeah, so at practices, I have my teammates to talk to, but during races, I feel like I kind of just focus on the people around me. I don't really think of too much. I just think of I got to stay with these people, don't let them pass me, and eventually work my way up to kind of pass them. So I just kind of focus on people. That's kind of what I think about.
Excellent. And then you guys talked last week about the Lake Division. Do we have anybody that we're sort of looking out for this Saturday at Madison? Because our top 5 teams, I believe, get out. I should verify that with Coach Thomas. But, yeah, there's only a certain number of teams of the 30-plus teams that are there that are going to qualify out to regionals. So do you guys have an idea of who those teams are? I'm sure maybe the coach will talk to you guys about, hey, be on the lookout for Edgewood or Jefferson or any teams like that.
So last week we raced against a lot of the teams that we're going to be racing at districts this week. So Chagrin, we kind of got to look out for them.
Yep.
Conneaut, we raced them. So in Geneva. So there's some schools around here that we raced last weekend, and most of them will be back at this weekend. So
well, we certainly wish you guys nothing but the best of luck as you hit your postseason now. This district meet will, again, advance certain numbers of individuals and teams out to the regional level at Boardman High School. What do you think of that Boardman course? Do you like Boardman course?
Not really.
No, it's a little hilly, right?
Yeah,
it's up
it
and
is
down.
hilly.
It's up and down. Well, I hope I can be there with you guys at regionals the following weekend as a team, or however many individuals we can get out. Again, we wish you guys nothing but the best. So let's dive in a little bit to some of Holly Viss's favorite things out there. What is your favorite food?
I would say mangoes.
Wow. All right, we have not had that
Yeah.
answer yet. I'm writing that one down because we haven't had it. Mangoes. How about movie or show?
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. All right. Favorite subject in school?
Probably science or math.
Science and
Yeah.
math. Excellent. And then your most memorable or best athletic accomplishment K through 12 here at Perry?
I'd say my sophomore year when our team all made it to state together for cross country
Yeah.
because we didn't know, and then when they announced it, we got the 6th spot, which is the last spot to make
Right.
it. So it was a great moment. That
Yeah,
when
I
we
remember being
realized-
there too, and that you guys went crazy.
Yeah,
It
we
was- It was
did.
awesome. That's what high school sports is all about. You know, you sort of get that last invite to the dance, so to speak, and you guys were pretty darn happy, as you should have been. All right, place to visit anywhere in the world. Money's not an object.
I would say Italy.
Italy.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Holly, congratulations.
Thank you.
Athlete of the week.
Thanks.
Best of luck the rest of this season.
Thank you.
We hope to see you at the regional and state level. I know that's the goal of our team and Holly as well, so we wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah, look for another team to advance on from sectionals to districts and so forth. So you had one team already play a playoff game this week on Monday. Let's start with girls soccer. They had a big 8-0 win against Jefferson.
Yeah, so that was the first sectional game of the postseason. It was a sectional final, the way the divisions are aligned now. So the girls will advance to play next Tuesday, October 22nd, at home against Woodridge, who was a bit of a surprise win last night against VASJ. So we'll host that match on the 22nd. If they beat Woodridge, they'll move on to the district final, which will be out at Rocky River on Saturday the 26th.
So at least one more home game coming up for the girls soccer
One
team.
last one. That'll be the last home match.
And of course, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of all CVCs were mentioned this week. And
Yeah.
girls soccer had a number of girls that were named first, second, and honorable mentions.
Yeah, we had several girls on that team, and the coaches do a great job. Your coach can't vote for yourself, so it's one of those things where you sort of see the respect level of the other coaches that are out there and that you've played all year. Jordan Rowan was the player of the year in our conference. Not a shock, right?
Yep.
She should be. She should be not only in our league, but I would hope News Herald and district, and certainly has a chance to make an all-state team again. So Endora Priscilla was first team. Katie Rockwell was first team. And we got a couple of boys named to those first and second teams as well. Volleyball, Madison Minor, I'm sure we'll hit all of those sports. But yeah, it was a good week. Cross country we ended up with 4 girls on first team because based on where you finish in that race, and then they won, I believe, if I'm doing my numbers right, our 3rd conference championship of the fall. So girls cross country, volleyball, girls tennis, football can wrap it up this week officially, so they would be our 4th. So it's been a great fall so far.
Yeah, a good start for the girls, so make sure you come out next week on Tuesday, support them in their playoff game. And boys soccer, we'll just knock off soccer real quick while we're
Yeah.
talking about it. They had a tough loss in their regular season finale against Madison, but they open up on Tuesday their playoff game in Ravenna.
Yeah, Tuesday, at Ravenna, we're a similarly seeded team. That's a lot to say, but we have a chance to win that game for sure. We're going to go out and compete tonight. The boys have been playing extremely hard. When you come to one of their matches, you're going to see kids all over the place giving 1,000% effort. We had Will on here earlier in the year, and Luke last week. I mean, those guys. Will is nonstop, and he actually earned first team All CVC as well. So congrats to Will. But he's a machine out there. He is nonstop, and all our players, they'll be ready to go. Anytime you can win a sectional championship, which is what they'll play in at Ravenna, that's a feather in the cap for the season. They're not certainly never given away. They're earned. So I know the boys will be ready to go when they travel to Ravenna on Tuesday night.
Yeah, and as TJ mentioned, both Luke and Will were both guests of Walk the Plank. So if you missed those episodes, you could go back, listen to those. Even Jordan Rowan as well. So if you missed any of the shows, you can go back in time, listen to them, and get to know these student athletes and what their goals that they set for this year and their accomplishments here, depending on what year they are in their time here as a Perry athlete.
Yeah, and I should mention Chance Slough, Drew Tanish, and Logan Buhner were second team all CVC. Honorable mention were Charlie Kruger and Luke Loveland on the boys' side. On the girls' side, Emma Bartlett, we said our first teamers. Our second teamers were Emma Bartlett and Adriana Polzer. Honorable mentions were Elise Strahan and Chloe Carringer. So soccer as a whole, fantastic years. As Luke said last week, they would have loved to win a couple of those more matches, but they had some close ones at the beginning. We've had a good run, sort of back and forth, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and hopefully we can get the win at Ravenna and they can keep their season going.
And you touched on the CVC champions for girls tennis, which we've talked about in previous pods, but the one that continues to keep going, now playing for a state championship coming up on Tuesday, is Audrey Austin, or on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday, Audrey will compete. I don't know, did you know this, Mindy? The state tennis tournament now is at College of Worcester.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
so instead of Cincinnati. So
Nice.
a little change. I think the
little
courts are, a little closer. I don't have to drive 4.5 hours now. So, but I'll be down there on Thursday rooting Audrey in, and just a couple of footnotes there. She is the first female in Perry tennis history to advance to the state tournament. So hats off. She's worked her tail off, obviously, since she was a little kid hitting that ball around. And she is the first singles qualifier. Her and Lily Walker had qualified as a doubles team her sophomore year. She just missed out on going to states last year as a junior, and then did it, by winning both of her opening round matches last week at the district meet. Ends up being seeded third as she heads into the state tournament. She's taken on a girl from the northwest section of the state, so she's taken on a number one seed. But it's a winnable match for her. I think they're evenly matched, and she'll have a chance to advance, and we'll see what happens. But congrats to Audrey, Coach Walker, and Audrey's family. A fantastic accomplishment, especially when it's the first time in Perry history that we've had one. So it's awesome.
Now, will everything take place on Thursday, or do they come back?
They'll come back Friday. She'll play up to 2 matches. So if she will need to win both matches on Thursday in order to come back on Friday. And so I know that's her goal. She'll be ready to go. I saw them out there hitting. Dodging raindrops earlier this week a little bit, but she'll be ready to go.
And then the final fall team that is still in action right now, the volleyball team, they won the CVC Chagrin division this past week. Yeah,
they did. They wrapped that up officially with wins over Chagrin Falls and Harvey. So our overall record, we ended up being 18-4. Fantastic record for our varsity team. Again, several selections from first team, second team on their district. They already did their district stuff as well, so those votes will be coming out soon. I know rumor was Madison Minor was our district MVP. I don't want to say that without too much fanfare, because I need to confirm that with Coach. But they will host. They are in their postseason officially now too. So on Saturday the 19th at 11 a.m. we host Lutheran East. And then there's another match with 2 other schools behind us. So because we're a highly seeded team, based on our record and our accomplishments for the year, we get to host those a couple of matches, and then they'll move on. If we win on Saturday, then we would play, I believe, at Woodridge the following week. So we can update everybody next week as to what the volleyball team is doing. But I know their goal, just like everybody's, is to advance, obviously, as far as they can. But they have their eyes set on a district championship and advancing on to regionals, which, again, don't want to say exactly how long it's been. I have to go back and check the record books, but this is my 14th year at Perry. We've never done that before. We've never advanced to a regional level. So we've gotten to districts a couple of times, but their goal this year is to win that thing. And we had the 2 girls on last week, and I know they were focused on the Volley for the Cure, but in talking to the coaches and the players, I know where their focus is at, and they're ready to go.
And with that playoff game coming up on Saturday, did the OHSA assign the 11 a.m. game, or was that
Yeah.
just because 3 games? I would think since you're hosting,
Yeah.
maybe you get to pick, or is it just assigned?
No, it is assigned. Everybody in our district will be playing either at 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. So I've gotten that question a couple of times, like why 11 a.m.? It seems like a weird time. I don't disagree, but that's what the OHSA said we have to do. You know, I'm like, is it an officials issue? I don't really
Yeah.
think it is because we have some soccer matches that will be played later in the afternoon. Those don't cross over at all. So 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. is what the state has assigned. So I know our girls will be ready to go at 11 a.m. And we've played in a couple of tournaments that way. So it's not, you know, a unique event to
Right.
them. It's not like they have to wake up extra early and hit the road. At least we're at home. And we've played in the Chagrin tournament. We played in our own Perry tournament. Both of those start at 9 a.m. So, but yeah, our girls are ready to go and they're locked and loaded.
So plenty of OHSA events going on this week. As we mentioned, girls already, for soccer, already won and they advanced. Boys will play on Tuesday, girls volleyball on Saturday, and of course, Audrey Austin going for the state title starting on Thursday.
Yep.
And then, of course, come out on Friday when the boys are at home playing for potentially the CVC championship against West Geauga on Friday night.
And then we'll give an update next week about, you know, all of where our teams are at. Unfortunately, I believe that our last, again, home athletic event for non-football will be that girls match next Tuesday. Volleyball, barring an upset on the other side of the bracket, will hit the road. And boys soccer will be on the road again if they get by Ravenna in that first round. And I forgot to mention our first team selections for volleyball, Madison Miner and Emily Meckenbauer. Emily's only a freshman, so a fantastic accomplishment as a freshman. Our second team, Kendra Conrad. She was a previous athlete of the week here for us. And then our honorable mentions were Tatum Christian, Aubrey Santor, and Jaden Newsom. So congratulations. You know, that's almost our entire starting unit there to get all CVC you know, recognition. And again, that's done from the opposing coach. You know, they're the ones voting on our kids. We can't vote for our own kids across the board. So hats off to all of our players, but I know our coaches and the players are focused on that team. We're just in that time of year where everything's about the team and where we're at and what that postseason run's going to be for us, and they're all looking to do something a little extra special this year and keep those runs going as long as possible.
Yeah, and last week we talked with Mindy about the middle school and some of the championships that they had, and of course you had one that should have wrapped up on Monday with boys soccer.
Yes, they traveled to Berkshire, which was fun because our girls played Berkshire
Yeah.
in the championship.
Little rivalry
with the girls.
going
Yeah,
with the
that's
Badgers, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way we wanted. It was a tough game for them. You know, weather wasn't the best. I mean, it was pretty chilly. It was pretty chilly yesterday. But they only lost 1-0, but they did have an opportunity where they had tried to tie it up, and one of our 7th graders got a goal,
Oh.
but it was taken back with an offsides call.
Ooh, boy.
So that was a hard pill to swallow.
Those aren't always fun to deal with.
No, not at all. But like the coach said, sometimes that's just how life rolls, and so you just got to roll with it and keep battling. And so, but you know, they had a slow start this year, so it was really great to see them, like I said last week, really turn it up when postseason started.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of good players that'll be coming back, and then some good players that's going to be moving up to high school. That's probably going to be a good benefit to our high school program.
Certainly. I mean, we always look forward to our incoming freshmen, and so now that all of those fall athletes are done with their seasons, they'll all be freshmen next year, whether it's
Right.
football, soccer on the boys or girls side, volleyball, cross country, cheerleading. They'll all have a chance to make impacts, you know, at the varsity level. You've seen it this year already. On the girls soccer side, we have a couple of freshmen. You know, Bree Kissig is out there for us. Sophie Siegel's a starter for the soccer team. I mentioned Emily Meckenbauer
Right.
on the volleyball team. And that's just a
And
few.
cross country.
Cross country, we have
Hazel.
several. Yeah, Hazel's made a huge impact for us on that team. So it runs the gamut. You know, it's really sort of fun to see that transition.
Oh, yeah.
You know, thinking that they're only playing middle school sport here as an 8th grader, and then, you know, as a freshman having a pretty significant impact at the varsity level.
Yeah, if we can really get kids to fall in love with these sports at the middle school level, and encourage them to invest that extra time in the off season, you know, whether it's getting with Coach Christianger in the weight room or getting out on the courts, you know, and working on tennis, or getting in the gym, working on their volleyball. I mean, you know, one of our freshman volleyball players up here at the high school, she doesn't play JO,
Yeah.
but she was on the JV team this year. And so I was talking to her parents, about that. And they said, oh, well, we put up a volleyball court in the backyard.
Yeah.
And so that's where she does all her work. So like those kind of things I love to hear when, we've got a middle school athlete that just is loving the sport and they're like, you know what, I'm going to invest my time. I mean, I see it on my street all the time. There's a couple girls on my street, won't mention any names, Gene, but they're always out there either pitching the ball or shooting hoops, but always seeing them, and that's what that investment of time makes the difference, not just for those athletes individually, but for our team, the community. Like, I don't know if the kids realize how much it means. You heard Drew talking
Yes,
about
yeah.
people in the community. How many people from the community come in because of the investment that these kids put in? It's a community
Yep.
thing.
Well, I think you can see it on the streams where people will tune in for a soccer game or volleyball or football that aren't even in Ohio or in
Right.
Perry, that are transplanted because of work or retirement or whatever, and you're tuning in to
Yeah.
see what Perry athletics are still doing.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think we've got a lot to be excited for. TJ and I talk about this,
yeah.
we've got a lot of great coaches at the middle
Yep.
school that just have a passion for the sport. They're good at coaching and they're doing a really good job connecting with the kids. So
And that's what it's all about. It's those relationships. We want our coaches to engage, our athletes as much as possible. And, typically if you can build that relationship with an athlete, they're going to work harder for you. They're going to do some of that stuff that maybe they don't want to do in the
Right.
off season. And we ask a lot of our kids already. We have a very rigorous curriculum already from an academic standpoint that they've got to make sure that they do first and foremost. And then, being a smaller school, I'm preaching this all the time. Like, we need multiple sport athletes. We need,
Yeah.
and it's okay if you're just doing one, but we'd love to have you do 2 or 3. But that said, a lot of our coaches are asking our kids to do stuff 10, 11 months out of the year, so there's just not enough time sometimes. But, hats off to all of our coaches and athletes, at the middle school. They do a great job getting our kids ready, so when the high school coaches sort of get their hands on them, so to speak, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
So you guys and all the work you do. You're going to transition now into winter pretty much pretty
Yes.
quickly, right? I mean, there's not
Well,
a
let's
whole
not
lot
say
of rest time.
quickly.
Okay.
I still got a little bit of a break.
All
Let's
right,
not just take
all
it
right.
away from me yet.
Okay, fair enough. So let's just talk about, I think our next sport coming up is girls basketball.
Yes.
So anybody looking for girls basketball, tryout information, when are those going to get underway and what's out there for girls
So
and boys
this Friday,
basketball?
right after school, we're starting, we're going to have an open gym and just invite any of the girls in 7th and 8th grade that may even want to just think about it. And that's
Yeah.
why I tell the kids, just come, try,
Yeah.
see if you like it, they get an opportunity to be around the other girls that are going to be playing and the coaches. And then next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right after school, we'll have tryouts. We've got the gym reserved until 4:45. So it'll be a 2-hour tryout, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then they'll start practice on the 28th. And then their first game will be, I think it's the second week in November. So, and then we'll be getting the boys ready in November with some tryouts and
Yeah,
some open gyms,
I know
starting the
Coach
1st of
Ispano's
November.
gonna do some of those early November, and then I think November 19th, I believe, is the date for that boys tryouts, and wrestling will start November.
Yeah, which I think they've already started some open mats.
They've done some open mats.
So some
but
kids are
then
already hitting the mats.
Their first official day is like the 15th, I think, of November, and I could be getting my dates wrong. It's that second Friday in November, so maybe it's the 14th. But yeah, it's right around the
It
corner.
is.
It's right around the corner, but you do get a little bit of time off, and well-deserved.
Oh
some
yeah,
time
I'm
off,
taking
so-
off tomorrow and taking
Yeah.
off on Saturday, and then
Very
I'll be
nice.
back
All right.
for basketball.
All right. Well, Minnie, we certainly appreciate all that you do and our coaches and our athletes down at the middle school level. Like I said, just getting them ready to go for the next level, wherever it may be when they become freshmen. So.
Yeah, and that's the transition, as we've talked about a couple of times now, where you make that transition from middle school to high school, and maybe you're a little timid at first, but this is the time to come up and be able to contribute right away in that freshman year. And I know Mindy talked about it last week, about the leadership and trying to get those young athletes to understand that you can make an impact right away. And, it's nice to start at that middle school level and move it up.
All right, and then moving forward, I know we're working on some special guests here for over the next couple of weeks, maybe bringing in some outside people. We've talked to a lot of our coaches. We'll still have our athletes of the week for sure. Probably Coach Stavar, maybe Coach Raga, Coach Tanish from that side, Coach Guestwich on the playoff side for the boys as we get, but also maybe some outside, media personalities to give us their opinion on some things.
Yeah, getting into that transition to the spot. Obviously, the middle school is going to do it a little bit sooner, but you get into that gap where only maybe one or two teams are still playing as they make their championship run. So you have, obviously, as TJ was mentioning, John Campbell join us at the News Herald, talk a little football. We're working a little volleyball and soccer as well, trying to get some of the fabulous writers from our area to come in and not only talk about Perry, but maybe some of the competition that they have or will see coming up, not even through the football playoffs or that respective sport. So we should have some of that coming up in the next couple of weeks.
That sounds great. It'll be a lot of fun. Those guys do a great job. News Herald specifically, they're covering the Tri-County area, and they've seen a lot. Ben was out here for our volleyball match with Chagrin last week, and he was able to give some insight on. We dominated Chagrin in that opening set. They only scored like 6 points, 25-6, and he's like, that's the most dominating set I've seen all year, and he's seen hundreds of sets of volleyball all year. So it'll be good to get their perspective on things and how the Pirates are stacking up in some of, all of whatever we have left, and it'll be fun to talk to them.
Yeah, and it's nice for someone that's there, because obviously you talk with the other ADs and the other schools,
Sure.
and so you only get the hearsay of their team. Now, this is someone that actually is going out there and watching their performances. So yeah, I think it'll only benefit this and the school hearing from some of the outsiders that get to cover all of the local sports here in Lake County.
All right. Well, until next week, week 10, we'll be back. We'll be back at it early next week, and we'll give you some updates on our fall sports teams here in action in OHSA sectional play. Obviously, football. We'll give you an update on Audrey Austin. You can always stay tuned to our Twitter account as well, Perry_Pirates. We've got really the most up-to-date scores and info out there. We'll certainly be following Audrey as well as the soccer and volleyball and football teams as we go. Until then, tune in if you want to check out the podcast. Number one, it's still the coolest thing to me. You can tell your Alexa, play Walk the Plank. That's literally all you have to say, and it'll play it. But it's also, we'll send out an email and we'll promote it on our Twitter account. You got a YouTube, you can watch the video portion of this, or if you're just more of a Spotify and want to listen to it, audio version, we'll send that out as well.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of athletes that we talked about throughout today's podcast that have been previous guests. So you can go back and listen and get to know them a little bit more. I mean, Audrey was in week number 1, and here we are in week 9. The volleyball and football, we've had 3 different guests in that front, and boys soccer, who will be in action on Tuesday. I mean, we've covered a lot of the fall sports multiple times, so you can go back, listen, and get to know those student athletes and the journey that they made from Little League or middle school to where they are now.
Well, and I think Audrey would be a good one to listen to. That was our first podcast, so it might be a little rough, but hopefully we've gotten a little bit better over the last 8 or 9 weeks. But, I know in that podcast she talked about what her goals were for the year. It was early on. It was like August 20th or something like that. And here we are 2 months later, almost to the day, and she's going to be playing in the state tournament. So just it would be a great one to listen to, but they're all there. We hope you tune in. We're hoping for more listeners every week. Again, just sort of a deeper dive into what we do in our athletic department and all of the efforts that our kids, we want to make sure that they're that people know about them and all the great things that are happening. So until next week, week 10 version of Walk the Plank will be out, and we'll see you then. Go Pirates.